Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 6th day of May 2025. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders and those that pick up garbage to keep our places clean. Blessings also upon those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are victims of pornography, child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts that create the demand that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and military veterans homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. All right. So apparently, step one in this series was complete and it was successful. In other words, we wanted the Knicks to steal one in Boston. Mission accomplished. But to me, what makes this extremely interesting is how the Knicks beat them. Looking at the stats, the Celtics, we know they're a three-point shooting team. In the first three games against the Knicks, the reason they blew us out, aside from not having Mitchell Robinson, was they shot the lights out, okay? We let people like Tatum get hot, and that was the end of that. They shot 63s yesterday, 6-0, and made 15. They lived and died by the three-point last night. I think they took the Knicks lightly, that they just thought they could just show up and throw up threes and just bomb us into submission. That's problem number one. Problem number two is the Knicks only shot 55% from the line. 55%. And still won the game. The Knicks were out-rebounded. Big. They were out-rebounded 59-49. And still won the game. The Knicks had 13 turnovers. Boston had 14. The Knicks still won the game. The points in the paint were virtually even, 36-34. And the Knicks still won the game. But above all that, Boston had the Knicks by 20 in the third quarter in the NBA playoffs. And the Knicks still won the game in Boston. What that does is demoralize any team. It's a demoralizing situation. You had them, I'm watching the game, and Boston was getting pretty much anything they wanted. And what they were doing in an expert level in the first 2+ quarters, they were picking the Knicks apart. They were finding the mismatch, especially with Jalen Brunson. They were catching him with Jaylen Brown on him under the basket. They were switching until you got him on Tatum. And I was like, damn. And they didn't miss a beat. They were doing it so consistently. It made me appreciate how great a team they are. And I was like, damn, I mean, every chance they got, they took full advantage. It was like you didn't have to tell them twice. As soon as they saw a mismatch that they wanted, they went at it. And, I was like, damn. And I was feeling bad, but I was like, okay, we still got Jalen Brunson. Never bet against Jalen Brunson. And we still got, the second half. So we get to the third quarter. And when your team, our team, the Knicks, are down in the third quarter, any team really, especially you're down 20, what you want to do is you're not going to get 20 points back in what was remaining in a quarter. What you want to do is you want to go into the fourth quarter and see if you can knock that lead down to single digits. Because then you got something to work with. So the Knicks actually got within 6 in the third quarter, and then Boston hit a 3, and then it was a 9-point lead going into the fourth. And I felt very good about that because the momentum was going toward the Knicks. The momentum had swung. The vibe was with the Knicks. And single digits. That's nothing in the NBA with the three-pointer. So I felt really good going into the fourth. Then the Knicks turned up the defense. I mean, turned it up. And the thing is, too, I didn't like, I was a little concerned with that one referee, DeRosa, but I didn't like that I turned the game on. I actually missed the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, but I turned it on, and already Towns had 2, Hart had 2. I was like, what? And nobody on Celtics had more than 1 foul. I was like, oh, shoot, here we go again, right? Here we go again. At the end of the day, though, when you look at the foul shooting, the Knicks had 31 foul shots, and they had 26. And 10 of those were Mitchell Robinson, right? So it was 26-21. I loved what Tom Thibodeau did. So this is how the hack-a-Mitch works. When the opposing team, in this case the Celtics, are in the bonus, and you have Mitch Rob on the floor, they can limit the Knicks by simply fouling Mitch Rob because now you're not getting no three-pointers against you because now he's on the line, right? So while they're in the bonus, that's the key. If they're in the bonus, they're going to hack Mitch Rob and get him on the line. And it was frustrating me too. See, I get just as frustrated as some of y'all, but I'm mature enough to wait till I start saying something stupid. And many of y'all just run your mouth. I was frustrated, and I was like, Dag, Mitch is costing us. But Tom Thibodeau pulled out of his back pocket Judah, otherwise known as Precious Achua. He pulled Judah out of his back pocket, put him in there. That stopped that whole stuff. Okay. Now, Judah only played, I only think he played 6 minutes. Let me see. He only played 5 minutes. But that was extremely important 5 minutes. Okay. Extremely important because that stopped the hack-a-Mitch. The defense was good enough. The rebounding was good enough. I mean, in his 5 minutes, he had 2 boards, but it was good enough to stop that hack-a-Mitch. Then, once they're not in the bonus, you put Mitch Rob back in the game, which is what Thibodeau did. The next quarter, Mitch Rob back in the game, and Mitch Rob plus 13. I was listening to, I looked at some writer, Steve Popper, talking about we can get rid of the plus minus because Mitch Rob's plus 13. As if Mitch Rob played bad. Because he's missing foul shots doesn't mean he's playing bad. Even this is what I'm saying. You can't listen to some of these people that write crap just because they're in a big newspaper or on a big platform. Like, they don't know what the hell they talking about. Mitch Rob's plus 13 because he was part of the run, the 25 or 30-11 run that helped the Knicks come back. And as usual, he was the rim protector. He was the defense. And now he knows how to use his hands better on defense too. So, yeah, it was all of that. He ended up with 7 boards in 21 minutes. He played 21 minutes. See? So it's above the 15, 16 we've been saying. As you can see, Tibbs is increasing the minutes. That was a brilliant move to put Precious in while the Celtics were in the bonus and then put Mitch Rob in when the Celtics were not in the bonus. Perfect adjustment for all of you that don't catch it because you always criticize it. But that's what he did. Obviously, Deuce McBride was -6. -6 because he was part of the team that went down by 20. Okay, he was out there a lot. He was there for 19 minutes. He scored 11. He shot the ball well. Finally, Deuce is starting to loosen up a little bit on the shot, which is a welcome sight. That was good. So, but the story was, first of all, the Wingstop. Okay, Wingstop picked it up. Now, Brunson also, not only because he was killing them in the beginning of the game, but he backed off and he was more of a decoy as Wingstop started doing business. Both Mikal Bridges on defense, OG Anunoby on defense and offense. OG ends up with 29, and that's really what it was. OG was getting open looks. This is what happens when you have a player like Jalen Brunson on your team. They got to pay attention to him. This is what happens when you have a player like Karl Anthony Towns on your team. They got to pay attention to him. So now OG gets some open looks, and OG was knocking down 6 threes yesterday. That's what it was. Plus, playing all NBA level defense on Jason Tatum. Listen, look, you cannot expect Tatum to go 4 for 15 every game in this series. Okay? That ain't going to happen. But he did last night. He was 7 for 23. He also had 16 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, because he's a great player. He's going to do that. But he had 5 turnovers. That's the OG grown-ass man energy effect on one of the 5 best players in the world. Okay? Kristaps Porzingis, you know, I unfortunately heard part of the pregame with Charles Barkley and Shaq. These guys are clowns. They're being paid to be clowns. So about 80% of what they say is wrong. But they were right in this respect. This is what Barkley said. He said, if Porzingis don't pick it up, the Celtics not coming out of the East. And he's right. Porzingis was the championship piece they needed to go all the way last year. That he was. And so if he is not playing peak level, this is what happened. Before Porzingis, you kept seeing Boston in the semifinals, in the Eastern Conference semifinals, Eastern Conference finals, and losing before Porzingis. When they got Porzingis, that changed the whole dynamic, changed everything. So this year, he played 42 games this year. He's played 6 games. He's played pretty much, that's all the games in the playoffs. But he's averaging 10 points. He's shooting 12% from 3, 33% from the field. That ain't why they got him. Okay? So, and it ain't his first year with them. So last night he didn't finish the game because he had an illness. This is the second time this year that he had to sit for an illness. That made me a little concerned for his well-being, honestly. You know, I know they're the Celtics and all that, and I don't like the Celtics, obviously, but on a human level, I was a little concerned. I was like, why is he sick again? That's what and then his numbers are terrible for the playoffs. So that was also an aid to the Knicks because Porzingis is, in a sense, on the 3-point, he's with Tatum as the head of the snake. If he starts hitting threes, which we have seen him do from the logo area, and he's knocking that down consistently, that opens up the floor for all of them. And they are dangerous between Brown, White, Holiday, Tatum, Hauser, Horford. They dangerous. So that was a major piece to this also. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but the Knicks, which I know they're going to do, they're not going to take anything for granted. Neither should we. In expecting, we're going to win this in this number of games, this series. One game at a time. So we got the split minimum that we wanted in Boston. Let's see now. And this is another thing. Some knucklehead and I always get knuckleheads, unfortunately. Fortunately, I got 11,000 subscribers. And I thank y'all for that. But most of y'all are cool. But every once in a while, you get a knucklehead comes in with something stupid. And he comes in talking about all the pressures on the Knicks. See, that's the Knicks hate media feeding that to you. And you buying into it like a sucker. Number 2, this is Team Knicks on this channel. This ain't for the fans, by the fans. This is Team Knicks. All the pressure's on Boston. It was on Boston going in. Why? Because they were heavily favored. Somebody made a lot of money last night. The Boston Celtics were favored by almost 70% to almost 30% to win that game. And they had them plus 10 against the Knicks. Somebody won a lot of money last night. Okay? Not that I advocate gambling. I don't. But it's almost too convenient. And then they put the new odds while it sells 12-20, talking about plus 15 for the Celtics. So anyway, you got to take this one game at a time, and all the pressure's on Boston. It was on Boston because they were so heavily favored yesterday. The Knicks were a complete underdog, and they're still going to be an underdog. And so the pressure is really on them now. What you don't want to do in any playoff is come back to the other team's home court down 0-2. You don't want that. Because now, let's say the Knicks win tomorrow night in Boston again. So now you got 5 more games left. 3 of them are in New York. And New York just got to go 2-3 to win the series. See? So you don't want to come back to New York down 0-2. Great pressure was on Boston last night. Even greater pressure going to be on tomorrow. They got all the pressure on them. The Knicks got money in the bank right now. They just won game 1. So they got the home court advantage for the rest of this series now. So unless Boston wins 2 more games, then Boston has it back. But for now, the Knicks got the home court advantage. And so Boston has all the pressure on them. Listen, the Knicks are used to playing under pressure, just dealing with y'all, and dealing with the New York media. That puts the pressure on the Knicks. Just that, from their own home crowd, their own so-called home media, they put more pressure on the Knicks than anything. So they're used to that. And then playing in a hostile environment, they love that. As you can see, they love that. They beat Detroit 3 times in Detroit. They love that. So that ain't no problem. So that works in the Knicks' favor. Coming into Wednesday night, everybody's healthy, right? You got to expect Boston to make an adjustment in terms of cutting down on their number of threes and looking to get in the paint. That's what they're going to be wanting to do with Holiday and White, looking to get into the paint. The Knicks, it wasn't just this game, though. If you look back on the Detroit series, Detroit was held for less than 30% from 3 for the series. The Knicks have played tremendous 3-point defense in the playoffs. And so last night, Boston was 25% from 3. Now, part of it might have been they was off, but you can't tell me. Tatum going 4 for 15. Derek White going 5 for 16. Jaylen Brown 1 for 10. Holiday 2 for 7. The only guy that was shooting decent was Pritchard, and that boy could shoot. He was 2 for 5 from 3. Okay, Hartford was 1 for 5. You got to give the Knicks credit. They played tremendous 3-point. That's one of the keys we talked about. They played tremendous 3-point defense last night. And they're going to continue to do that. So now Boston has got to get more physical. See, this is where Detroit helped us out in a lot of ways. Number one, a lot of people sleeping on Detroit still. I mean, Detroit is for real, okay? And they was physical. It wasn't no easy matchup. Detroit could have probably beat, with the exception of Cleveland, anybody above them in the playoffs. Maybe I give Cleveland a slight exception because of what kind of season they had, but the Boston, Indiana, Milwaukee, Detroit could beat any of them. Okay, so they was a tough team, and they was very physical, and the rest would allow them to play physical more than even the Knicks. So that was good preparation for this series. Boston is skilled, very skilled, highest level skill in the East, in my opinion, but they're not physical like Detroit was, and that helped the Knicks. They had to adjust a little bit because the refs were calling it too tight early against the Knicks and not for Boston. But then it kind of evened out. Like I said, you look at the free throws, it was 31-26, and again, there were 10 of those was hack a Mitch, right? So you got to figure 21-26, 5 is just, on the border. I think 5 is the borderline. If it was more than 5, I'd rank the refs F. But it was 5, so I give them a C+. But they're going to be a different crew Wednesday, thank goodness. So that is Knicks defense. The adjustment's going to be what you're going to see Wednesday is you're going to see them continue to attack Jalen Brunson. They were very successful with that. They're going to use the 3-point shooting as a bit of a decoy, and they're going to try to get Jaylen Brown, Jrue Holiday. By the way, somebody, one of y'all, there's also these people that are perfectionists. They think, if I say something wrong, they got to correct me. They feel, I think that makes their day. So somebody said, well, Jrue Holiday is only 6'4", 215, and Hart is bigger than him. He's 6'4", 205, and Hart is 6'4", 215. I don't give a crap. My point was, Holiday is strong, and he's got a low post game. That's the point. And they're going to try to exploit that with Jaylen Brown and Jrue Holiday on the low post. They're going to try to get. I don't like the number of times yesterday they had Kristaps Porzingis on either Brunson guard, and they switches to they had Brunson or Hart trying to guard KP. I didn't like that. but they gotta clean that up a bit. They gotta be what most of the Knicks on the floor. Like there was a point where they took out Cat. I think he was because he was in foul trouble. But you had Mitchell Robinson, the two Wingstop, Deuce, right, and Brunson. With the exception of Brunson, any switch was no more. It wasn't no mismatch. See, they would switch from, they would get Tatum, they would get OG off of Tatum, but then here's Mikal Bridges. And what bothered me? I think it was Reggie Miller said, Mitch Roberts not comfortable guarding in space. I was like, what the hell you been watching? I was like, he perfectly comfortable guarding in space. And so if they had Tatum with Mitch Rob on him, if they had Tatum with OG on him or Tatum with Mikal Bridges, all that works. Even with Hart, that works, see? So you just had one, and then Brunson fight hard enough to try to keep it together for us, So there was points out there where we could switch anybody, and it didn't matter, especially when they take KP out the game. Because he's got an obvious height mismatch on most players, but he's not physical enough on the low block. So Porzingis don't want nothing to do with Cat. He don't want nothing to do with grown ass man energy on that low block. He just don't. He's too light in the ass. But he will kill you from three. So that's what they're gonna be concerned with, because Porzingis, I don't even know what's wrong with him, but something is. He's not playing the way he's capable of playing in this whole playoffs. He hasn't. Okay, and then he missed the game yesterday. They're also going to miss Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser is a 40-something% three-point shooter. He's one of those cats. He's the fourth or fifth option, but if he's open, he's going to kill you. Okay, that's one of the things that makes them the Celtics, the 61-win Celtics. He left the game yesterday with an ankle. So all of that is going to play a role. They had Luke Cornett out there for 17 minutes. He was hacking everybody. Al Horford played 34 minutes. He was doing his best. But I got to say the Knicks did an excellent job at victimizing Al Horford. They would get Al Horford in space with Jalen Brunson. And golly, man, that's a mismatch of mismatches. And every time that happened, JB was going on him. So the Knicks also know how to exploit mismatches as well. So that was good. So we got the one win we needed to get. It was and actually JB could have ended it in regulation. He missed the shot that I would say 9 times out of 10 he hits. So he missed that layup, and he knows it. But the Knicks yesterday, honestly, they were the better team. Remember what we said early? It was our guys versus their guys. And as Parcells said, our guys were better. Okay, and Mitchell Robinson did make a difference. He ain't score a lot. Mitch Rob had what? Mitch Rob played 21 minutes. He scored 3 points, and we know he was 3 of 10 from the line. But that ain't the ball game. The ball game was rim protection and defense. That he did. Okay, that's what we want him for. That's what the difference is. Defense wins championships, and Mitch Rob is that piece. Now he played 21 minutes yesterday. Deuce played 19. Cameron played 3, and he wasn't playing well. He hasn't been really playing, except for that one game against Detroit where he went off. He hasn't really been playing that well this playoff yet. I think we're going to see better Payne, going forward. He was 0 for 2, missed both free throws. That ain't him. So I'm expecting him to come back. But Deuce finally got his stroke. Deuce was playing defense. They had Deuce out there 19 minutes. I thought he played more, but the team that was running was the starting 5 with Mitchell Robinson, the team that was running, that got it back. Mikal Bridges. If I hear another person come on my channel and mention them 5 damn picks with Mikal Bridges, I'm gonna try my best to ban you for life from here. Most times you get banned for 3 weeks, but I don't want to hear no more about them damn 5 picks. That boy was locking down yesterday. He did not shoot the ball well. But defensively, especially the last play of the game when there was 3 seconds left, you see, that was emblematic of the whole game. Tatum had the ball. He said, give me that damn ball. And took it from him. I told you, come playoff time, you're going to want Mikal Bridges. Guess where we at? Playoff time. Oh, yes. So, yeah. I'm expecting that. They're going to have to solve the Bridges problem, because Bridges, And he wasn't, except he did have the biggest three of the game, didn't he? He did have the biggest three of the game. Put the Knicks up 3 or 6. Biggest three of the game in the corner there. Oh gosh, man. So 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. You're going to want Mikal Bridges in the playoffs, okay? 51 minutes yesterday, OG 46, Jalen Brunson 44, Josh Hart 45. This is the playoffs. This is what you want, okay? So now they're off tomorrow. They stay in Boston. I mean, they're off today, sorry. They stay in Boston. They come back tomorrow night, play them at 7 o'clock. Everybody will be ready on the Knicks. Everybody going to be ready. Let me just say this. I can't guarantee anything. This is the Boston Celtics, the defending champs. You want to give them their props. You don't want to underestimate them. But I'm going to say this. Boston got a problem tomorrow night. Y'all enjoy the win. Enjoy the Tuesday. Be safe out there. So